Hello, welcome back to DevSecOps Talks with Paulina.
Matthias.
And Andre.
Yay. See, much quicker now.
Yes,
We managed.
we
Yeah.
did. So, without further ado,
Let's jump into it. What are we
I
discussing?
have a news for you, an unexpected one.
This could be scary because sometimes you do this, Andre, and then you haven't really told us anything, and you just bring in stuff that we haven't discussed before.
The Microsoft.
Yeah.
Do you remember us talking about Microsoft on this podcast? I don't.
No.
No, not in my times at least.
No. So, anyhow, Microsoft announced that they will be switching Windows accounts to Passkeys.
Yeah.
With the possibility to delete the password. So you could have your account as a passkey only, like having a passkey as your primary way of authentication.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
to my knowledge, they are the first to do that. And, the attack surface is huge, like with password stuffing, right? So the people stealing the passwords, trying to stuff them into all the services. So I think it's a good thing that Microsoft is doing, and I thought that it might be a good timing for us to talk about passkeys because I don't think we spoke about that before.
We have not. But good. I thought we had the podcast about Microsoft, and I forgot about that. But that wasn't the case, and that feels good. Good.
Before we jump into the passkeys, we could start a little bit with the history of the passwords, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know where the passwords came from, but there used to be such things called mainframes. So it's a big, very slow computer if you compare with what we have today.
Yeah.
But in 60s, that was the cutting edge.
Yeah.
And they were huge, like taking a lot of space. And what they had on it, they didn't have much of multi-threading going on back then. So it was like the one operation only at the time. And they had a password sharing system. So in 1961, there was a professor who came up with the digital passwords for multiple researchers so they can share the mainframe without reading each other's files.
Yeah.
That was like... Do you know what happened in 1962?
No.
Well, you can guess, because that was the first ever recorded password theft, because the student basically took the password file, printed it, so he can have more time on the mainframe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sneaky.
So
62.
that basically tells you everything you need to know about the passwords, because password is a kind of secret that relies on the knowledge. So it's something that I and a system where I want to get have or know, right? So it's more like know. So we need to know. And as with any kind of secret that is knowledge-based, it could be easily shared. So I can tell my password to Matthias, and then Matthias can easily impersonate me if that to happen.
Yes.
And actually, we haven't got much further. Like, it's been 60 years now, like more than 65 years almost. But we're still using passwords as our primary means of authentication. So, but there was a common realization that that's not enough, and that's why industry came up with second factor authentication. So one factor is not good. Let's have a second factor. And I prepared, with a little bit of help, I prepared a list for you of the most common 2FA factors. So second factor authentication.
And the 2FA factor is like you use it because if I will get access to your account, Andre, and I have the password, the 2-factor pings you, so I cannot get access with only the password. You need something else that is private for you. Like it could be a text sometimes, maybe not in the US, but in Europe.
In most cases, it's something that I have and Matthias don't have.
Exactly.
It can be email, can be phone text, can be phone, can be app. Also, I think it's good that we are getting rid of passwords. As one of the most common passwords, it's still 1234566 and a QWERTY, so it's not really secure.
Monkey as well. I don't know why, but Monkey is very popular. Let's go over what we have today. So we have SMS OTP. And OTP stands for one-time password. So you log in somewhere, they send you SMS with a code, you type the code in, and that factor is based on something you have, and that's your phone, like actually your SIM card. Works on any phone, so it's like it's nice. But the common weakness here is something called the SIM swap. So the person can call in and to the support. I think I hear myself through Paulina.
Paulina did something here. So I muted her.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yes, so the person can call into the support of the telecom provider and convince them that they are you and ask to register that number to another SIM. And then that's why it's called SIM swap. There is also possible SS7 interception. Like SS7 is a stack that's used for the text communication, like the mobile communication. Now they're moving to a different standard, but still there is not much encryption going on there.
No.
They're introducing it now, but still like the SMS is unencrypted.
Yeah, and then there was a big thing when they actually they could pay people to switch the number, the card number, so your number is transferred to something else, and the people would just be like social, look up people and then call into the call centers, and different provider would just, I lost my phone and I have this card, can you just move it over to this one?
And there is the whole industry doing that. There would be like the person with the phone who will be receiving the code. There will be another person calling in. Then the person with the phone will be sending those SMS to the third person. So there are the whole teams who are doing that. In order to steal your accounts. So SMS generally considered not a good factor. You should not be using it. If you can, avoid it and use something else. Then we have the TOTP. So that's one-time password based on the generators. You would get a QR code in most cases. You could also have it as a string. You pass that into your authenticator app. Could be Google, Authy, Authenticator. Most of password managers can generate OTPs for you. So then, what happens is, when you log in, you enter your password, then you present it to the same screen as in case with SMS OTP. But then you need then it's your app that will generate code, and you paste it there. Again, the same thing here. It's better because it couldn't be intercepted, as in case of SMS, but it's phishable, so you could be phished. For it. Let's keep in mind. Then there is another thing called email OTP. So again, the same idea. You will get an email and you paste it into wherever you need to go. It's actually evolving now. So instead of sending you OTP, they just send you a link. You click it and you logged in. And some of the websites actually went even further, and they don't require the password. They just send you a link. Each time you need to log in, they send you a link. Which is a decent system. Here, your inbox is a last line of defense, as in many cases. We'll actually get back to that. Then you have the push approvals. So you might have something like Duo, or Microsoft Authenticator, Google helps that. I think they call it a smart lock. So you would have a push notification on another device where you're logged in, and you need to approve that that's you. It's quite secure, but the way to attack this one is something called MFA fatigue or push bombing. So attacker would spoof it. Basically will keep logging in, and so you're getting more and more and more of those notifications.
Exactly.
Eventually, the person gave up, or they missed something, and for some reason press it. So they would basically bomb you with a notification, so hoping that you would press it. And they do it because it works.
Yeah.
Also, what if you lose your devices? That's another problem. If you, for example, I'm very clumsy, I lose my phone or laptop quite often. What do you do it when if you don't have access to it online?
Right.
Yeah, and my devices, sometimes my kids have them as well, right? Watching YouTube.
Yeah, so
if you do it then we probably just click remove this screen, right? Yeah.
It could be so that so you could have it on a phone, but you could also you can send your push notification on another laptop if you have another laptop. So there are options, like you can have iPad and stuff. But again, it's with its weaknesses and might be less convenient in some cases. Then there are hardware OTP faults.
Oh, I remember these days.
For instance, RSA Secure ID.
Yeah.
So that's a hardware-based code generator that basically works only for one account.
Yeah.
Actually, I had that once. Well, actually, a couple occasions I had though.
But you had it was a small device, and you had right. It was similar to the Google Authenticator. You just provide you with numbers, but it was a small device on like a battery.
So it's a dedicated token. It's a hardware-based. It's tamper-resistant. Here you have the only weakness is like the user friction. You have to have it with you. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
You don't have an access.
There are stories about people having those in the safes.
Yeah.
And then they would if someone needs to log in, the person will open the safe, call another person who is logging in and tell them what the code is. So it's like for us, it's more secure because it's harder to get to it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's better, but it's less convenient to use.
Yeah.
Finally, we have the FIDO security keys, which based on the U2FA and FIDO2 standards. So the most common ones are YubiKeys, that you heard of, but there is Google Titan. There's some made in
It's like an open source one as well, right?
No. There are open source, yes. So stuff, but the ones I mentioned, they are proprietary.
Yeah.
Very similar. So it's a physical thing that you have that you need to carry with you. You need to plug in the computer, then you present with a challenge. You either need to enter the PIN or press the button to say I'm there.
Yeah.
And what happens is basically on those devices you have what it calls it's basically a secure store, and the key never leaves that. So key is stored on the device. You get a challenge from the website being passed to the device using the key on the device signs it and sends out from the device a signed challenge.
Yeah.
Your private key never leaves the device.
Yeah.
There is a clever name for that kind of thing, which I totally forgot.
But the device are also the device certificates are signed and approved from the site where you log in. So the Google has approved the CA sign from YubiKey, and then if YubiKey signed your private, and then the chain is complete and you're allowed to get access.
You have a typical asymmetric encryption here.
Yeah.
Private, public key,
all that stuff.
Authorization. So that's very typical for many places.
Yeah.
And Passkeys, they take this idea that we have in YubiKeys and they take it to the next level. So you have it in the browsers. You don't have a hardware device, but they rely on the secure module on your hardware as being the laptop or the phone.
Yes.
So, for instance, if you're using the MacBook, you will have something they call secure enclave there. It's basically a storage of the keys and stuff that could be used for this kind of authorization. And there is a FIDO2 standard that tells you how to implement the passkeys, which is technically public key encryption. So what happens, the same with YubiKey actually.
Yeah.
When you want to use the passkey as your second factor, you would log into the website using your primary factor because the website needs to know it's you.
First.
Still, unless you're creating the new Microsoft account, and then you actually register with the passkey without any possibility to register a password. But most of the websites, they kind of do it in a half measure. So you would log in with what you have right now, and then you can register passkey as a second factor or another option to sign in. And what will happen is you basically generating. What's important to understand is like with the passkeys, you're generating the key pair per site. So for each site, you would generate a private key and you would generate a public key. You will share the public key with a website, and the website will use the public key to verify your signature for the challenge. And another thing here is that the passkeys will contain the website's address. So it will contain the domain, and they can also make a domain verification for you in most cases, which means that they are phishing resistant. So if someone is serving you the website that looks like another website, the passkey will not work on their website. So that's one benefit that you have over the all other factors, because here they're phishing resistant, the same as the YubiKeys. But one thing about YubiKeys that not many people know is that because YubiKey generates a private key per every site, it has a limited storage. I mean, it's like a small, tiny thing. Storage is limited. Until recently, like the old version of YubiKey had a capacity of 25 keys.
That's not how much.
It was never a problem. Pauline, I think it will get better if you wear the headphones. If you have something with you.
Oh, headphones died. That's my issue. So that's why I'm quiet.
Well, look at here. This is called a cord. Oh, you also have one, Andre. This is a cord. It never dies.
Anyhow, so probably you will not hear it in the edit, but we have a little bit of a going on with Paulina. So going back to the hardware key, so it was never a problem. The capacity was never a problem because a very limited number of websites actually supported hardware keys. So you would need to work hard to find those 25 sites to register your YubiKey. I mean, that was the fact till recent. But now you actually have to be careful because implementation of the passkeys in operating systems are very confusing.
But you still, the thing is like, if you have it on a YubiKey, that's fine. You have your physical key, you plug it in. When you log into the site, it will ask you like use your like hardware key. You will press and you will log in, right? But if I use it, for example, for my Bitwarden, then it will call it, and then I log into my Bitwarden with, what are you guessing? Password.
Yes. There are a few things about that. You should understand that like the hardware key is super secure, but you don't have any kind of sync. You don't have the backups. You lost the key. You lost it.
You're out.
Do you know why YubiKey sells the keys in pairs? Not one key, but two. That's why. Because what you do is you register one key and straight away you register the second key because your second key is your backup. There is no passphrase you write down to restore the encryption key. Nothing like that. Encryption key never leaves the key. That's why it's secure. I mean, it never leaves the YubiKey. That's why it's secure. So there is that. There is no thing. That's why it's precious to you, and it could be taken by force. So there is always that. But you have to, if that is your threat vector, if you know that someone might be like after you to actually come to you physically and take over of your possession, well, you know, and you prepared for those outcomes. But like the normal people, that's usually not a concern for them. So like for us, they're secure and we don't have that risk factor. But what Matthias is saying is because most of the system goes halfway, so they kind of provide you convenience. So the passkey right now is not as a secure measure, but it's more like a convenience. The process is faster. You just press you touch the button with a fingerprint read, Face ID, whatever your biometric, like Windows Hello, whatever your biometric stuff is, and that unlocks the vault.
Yeah.
You sign the challenge, you log in, nothing to type, nothing to copy. So there is that. But if you have SMS as your second factor, you have your passkey registered and you have SMS, they can still skip your passkeys and take over your SIM card, log in just perfectly, and your passkeys doesn't make a difference in security. So it's a convenience and protection from phishing. That's what you get right now if you have other factors enabled.
Yeah, and this is also going back. I mean, the way with certificates and proving that you are you, it goes back a long way. I mean, that's how the web is constructed today. When you go to the website and see that the signed key, that means that is the website that raises the key. Now, you're not proving that you are you, but this with generate certificates for that website, you will prove that you are the one that the website think you are. And so it's like semantic keys are a tested solution for this, and has been for a long way.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same as the
technology.
GitHub works the same, right? You create your public key, you share your public key, and then you have access. And GitHub knows exactly who you are by
you. You do SSH, the same thing. Like if it's certificate based, if it's not a password based. So we're kind of implementing already existing technology, and we're just making it user friendly now.
Yeah.
So there is like not much new in that, but that brings us to implementation.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because what you have right now, the implementation is very confusing. Like me, technical person, when I'm offered to create a passkey and save it, in most cases, the dialogue is so confusing, you have no idea where your passkey is going, because you have multiple places where it can go. Your browser would love to have it. Like the Google Chrome will offer you to store your passkeys, so it's easier to store them.
Dangerous. I mean, there's been things don't do that. If there are like things where you can save your Google, the Chrome password is saved to your Google account. So if you get access to the Google account, you can just go in and look at the passwords. So
don't use the browser. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Then you have ideally you have your device and the key is per device, and it's actually initial implementation of passkey was like that. So the keys were non-transferable. The vendors like Apple, Microsoft, and so on, they made it so it's possible to think within the ecosystem. And it's understandable because people don't want passkeys to be stolen. As soon as you make it easy to transfer them, you open the door for the possibility to steal. It's harder comparing to the password, because password is a string of text.
Yeah.
Technically, your key is also a string of text, but it's stored in a secure enclave that is protected by biometry. So you either need to have a malware on your device that could do the shadow signing, so like sign behind your back. But like if you have someone on your laptop, you're screwed anyway.
Yeah. And what it does also is like it pushes things away from the service. I mean, today when you have your password, the vendor needs to have your password stored, right?
Yes.
And when we see the breaches, they're going for the password, and they all this like it should be hashed and salt and all. Yeah, of course, right? But they still need to have the password. But this with passkeys, they don't need to do that. They will only have the public key. You will have the private key. So even if a vendor is hacked and they stole the whole database, the access or like that password cannot be shared because they will only have the public key, and that's fine. You can share it with anybody. It's not a secret, right?
Yes.
That's also a big factor with this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Exactly. So it's also unload. So you're the only one who have a secret.
Yeah.
So now, like before that, it was a shared secret. You have it, and the website have it in some form.
Yeah.
And then you match. So you have it, website have it. Yeah, it's the same. You can come in.
Yeah.
So now it's only you who have it, and what you're being present from the website is a challenge that you need to sign.
Yeah.
And then it's just cryptographic verification of the signature, which is a much better system. But again, what we have now is it's more convenient, but we need to make those additional steps to make it secure, right?
Yeah.
Because first of all, implementation is it needs some love. Then you have your password managers who are kind enough to offer you to store passkeys there.
Yeah.
And that's a big question if you should be doing that, because like if you're storing your OTP in your password manager together with your
password, is this really two-factor then?
It's not a second factor because you have it in the same place. You pass your passkey there. I get no security wins, and basically your password manager is in a place that people would attack. To get it.
So how would you do it if I'm working at a company now and they're like, okay, it's time, right? Let's get rid of password. Like, is it just like order YubiKeys to everybody, at least 2?
Well, look, so with the company it's easy. So the problem here is you need to have a way to recover your access if you lost it.
Yeah.
And with the company, you always have someone who is admin who can reset your password. Because they know it's you.
Yeah.
Well, they have a good idea that it's you.
You can go in and talk with them.
Because you are inside the organization, there are other ways to validate that you is you, because you would have access, like for instance, to the Slack. Right? Here is different. You have a provider of email, for instance. And they have no idea that you is you. So they need to validate it somehow, and you need to have a way to recover your access. And as I said, we quite often fall back to email as for the password recovery, right? And resetting, because if you forgot your password, then the second factor doesn't really matter. They will send you the reset password link and you can get in. And that's what people do. So what I would do is I would have a totally separate inbox, like for instance with Tutanota, Proton Mail, somewhere that I'm not using on an everyday basis, and I will use that only for the email recovery. I will not share it anywhere because then people don't really know what it is. So for instance, if they get my password, or it's something else, if they're trying to reset my password, right, they would get to my email. If they get into my email, that's my primary email that I'm giving to everyone, that everyone knows, they say, okay, now we have access to Andrei's email. Let's reset all other accounts and get access to them. They're trying to do so, and they're not getting the email. So they got as far as they got.
Okay.
They cannot use it as a stepping stone to attack my other account. So I would use completely different email address for that, which I would not share with anyone. So that's one thing. Then I would use a maximum level of security, so ideally secure key, like YubiKey or something else, for that email and my primary email as well, because still there is a lot of sensitive data in there. And then you have your hardware provider, like Apple, for instance. They will have their own account where they sync stuff. So you also want to have maximum security in there, plus your password manager. After that, it could be a little bit more lax, I think.
Okay. Paulina, do you have a YubiKey? Passkeys?
Your headphone on the chart.
No YubiKey.
No YubiKey? No? You don't have any hardware key? No, okay.
In Belgium, at least my partner has, you have to get small calculator where you put card in to be able to get any transactions through.
I have one of those in my closet as well. And in Sweden, we have this ID that you log into with two-factor. But if that is down, I can go back to this small, you have to start it, you have to enter a code, and then you get the OTP or totem code, and then you can log in. So those.
In Denmark, you have also something similar. You have app, but beforehand it was, the card, physical card with the codes, one-use codes, which you had to put.
I have it explained here. So I have a physical card with the numbers, which is like OTP, super secure. You have to take it from me. Well, still phishing, possible to phish.
Or take a picture.
Or take a picture. Yeah, that's what I do. I have a picture in my photos, and that's another attack surface that people don't realize. Like you have a lot of stuff in your photos.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a fun episode or not. I feel like I need to look over my passkeys and make sure that I have duplicates of them and verify. Sometimes I just log in and I need to have a better look at this and see where everything is stored actually. But yeah.
I think there's also one layer of it, okay, does your family or someone who has to have access to it in case something happens to you, do they have the way to be able to access your passwords, keys, or your bank accounts and so on?
Yeah, for sure.
We've had this disaster recovery episode. Like everything we discussed there, go do with your family. I actually did that with my wife, so I needed to be put under, so they would need to do anesthesia, and you never know how it's gonna go. And the day before that, I told you right, so that's a PIN code from my iPhone, that's a PIN code from my bank ID in Sweden, so you can sign as me if you need. That's a password from my password manager from there.
Yeah.
With all three pieces, you should be able to get the rest if you need to. If for some reason I'm not in capacity for short or long period of time.
We see. I always said that I have an hardware crypto wallet lying around, USB devices. And probably the day I go, people will comment "Oh, it would be nice. Have maybe some photos of me, Matthias. It's like a USB device. Have you found something around here?" And Lisa will probably just hand it over to the first person, "Oh, is this one?" And then it will go. Yeah, make sure to sort out what kind of devices you have.
But by the way, the crypto wallets, most of the crypto wallets that you connect over the wire to the laptop, they work exactly the same way. So they have the secure enclaves, they store your cryptographic keys there. And some of them can work as a second factor.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
So going back to it, this is not it's a new way of logging into web pages, but it's not a new way of proving your identity. It's been used for a long time. I think we come up to half an hour. Do you have any last words with this?
Let's try to sum it up. So if you are presented with the option to use a passkey and register, do that.
Do it.
Because it's better. It's faster. It's more secure in many ways.
Yeah.
Well, you still if you have the SMS, disable it.
Yeah.
Because it's it's a phishing resistant, and this is what's happening right now. People being phished left and right. Most of the breaches are because of the phishing, and with AI, people actually writing a very believable messages. My wife being phished all the time. I see the organizations we work with. They would find accountants or CTOs or people with access. They will try to phish them all the time. So using passkeys instead of your password, that's already you are a step ahead, because if you're logging into the web page and it's not offering you a passkey, you would say something isn't right here. Why it's asking for the password, right? Why is it's not asking for the passkey? Obviously, it's still possible to steal cookies, so you still need to do something about it. But if you just compare that with all other second factor, that's a decent choice. Do that. Just make sure to understand where you're gonna save it.
Yeah, and order 2 YubiKeys today, Paulina. They're super cheap. They're I just look it up now.
$50.
What do you say? $100, right? €100, 1,000 Swedish.
I think you get 2 for 50 last time I checked. But don't quote me on that.
No, they're really cheap. Order 2 right now, so you have them. Maybe order some more to your friends. There are other brands. Get something, store them there, and start today. When web pages now can support passkey, start using them.
There was a company in Switzerland that was selling those keys that had a lot on them. But I don't think you really need that much, because you would use those as a last line of defense for your most important accounts.
Yeah.
But what do you do as I'm losing everything. So that's why that's my reason to not using YubiKeys, because I used to have them from my previous employers. I lost, I think, 5 of them. So, I've managed to find some of them, but I'm quite bad with leaving stuff around. So I don't like to have physical if I don't have to.
AirTags.
Yeah. AirTag them. So they're like bigger. Maybe you can make them bigger. You can have like a ribbon or like have them big. Maybe like a.
It doesn't solve the issue of losing stuff and that they are unattended for some time. It makes solving issue of finding them back.
You could put it on your dog's collar, and then you can always call your dog, and the dog will have it. Then you won't never lose it, right?
Or have your dog eat your backup key.
Yeah.
But that should be NFC key, because I don't think that the plug thing with the electrons would be workable afterwards.
No. Probably not.
Oh, well.
Okay, I think with that, I will press stop. Thanks for this. Hope you all get started using Passkey right away. It's worth it.
You have been listened to DevSecOps Talks with Matthias, Andre, and Paulina. For notes and information, please visit devsecops.fm. Thanks for tuning in.